Run or done. The Warriors' playoff hopes hang a thread. But just how far can they climb? Currently in 7th place in the fiercely competitive Western Conference, Golden State has 10 games left to a spectacular finish that define their entire season, regular and post. This final sprint will decide whether they secure home court advantage and get as high as the 3 seed or get dragged down into the chaos of the play-in tournament. With Gary Payton II sidelined with a thumb injury, Steph Curry returning from his butt contusion, and Jonathan Kuminga still struggling to get integrated into this new Warriors team post-Jimmy Butler trade, the stakes could not be higher. In today's video, we'll meticulously go through each and every game from the Warriors' Final 10, highlighting crucial matchups, key players, and pivotal factors in this sprint to the finish. Stay tuned all the way to the end because we're going to reveal our detailed prediction on where we think the Warriors will end up in terms of seeds as well as realistic record. With that, let's dive straight into it. Have to start the stretch 1-0 if we're to do anything in the Western Conference this year. Next up is San Antonio, the Spurs. Much like the Pelicans, Victor Wembanyama is out for the season, and Fox is no longer in the driver's seat of this team. Fox has been great without Victor Wembanyama, but without Wembanyama and Fox, it's going to be tough for this team to compete. Although the defense was formidable earlier in the season with Victor Wembanyama, things have fallen off significantly because they've had to rely mainly on Castle and Sohan to initiate a lot of their offense, which was never even really top tier with Wembanyama, leading to a bottom 10 offense with Castle and Sohan as the main drivers. Castle does have the potential to foil the Warriors' plans, however, because he's up for Rookie of the Year and he wants to perform well throughout the rest of this season. Kuminga could prove crucial to making sure that we can stop Castle. By having a defense solely focused on Castle and leading Kuminga as the one primarily guarding him, it will make it so that the Warriors will have no trouble with this game. But should Kuminga struggle, it might be a tough game for the Warriors because we don't have that defensive stopper in GP2. And this is where that GP2 loss really hurts the Warriors. Added help from Steph too in this game will be super important because there is a possibility that the Warriors just simply outscore the Spurs without playing any good defense whatsoever. I think a big factor in this game also will be Draymond Green because his big candidacy that he's been going online on his podcast for Defensive Player of the Year is going to be something that he wants to really proliferate throughout the rest of this season. And I think in San Antonio, this could really happen as their offensive rating is poor. And if he's able to have a good defensive game, it could show up big for voters. Regardless, the Warriors have consistently been able to win in San Antonio, and I don't expect that to be discontinued here, which is why I expect them to come out of this stretch 2-0 and end up beating the Spurs. The Memphis Grizzlies are next. The big, bad Grizzlies. This is probably the toughest game in the last 5-game stretch. The Heat, the Hawks, the Spurs, the Pelicans, among them. The Grizzlies are going to be the toughest. They started off the season hot with Ja Morant. They were the 2nd seed almost all season in the Western Conference. But Ja has been inconsistent in playing, and now they're 5-5 in their last couple games. They're still top 10 in defensive rating and 6th in offensive rating, showing that they are a formidable team. But Ja Morant having this hamstring strain for the last 4 games and maybe into the future affecting him could really affect him as they play this. Ja Morant being incredible on the offensive end is really how this team runs. Desmond Bane has done better this season than in previous, but he's not the offensive engine that Ja Morant is. And if the Warriors are at full strength, they're going to try to do everything they can to stop Ja Morant. If he's not able to play well, it's going to be tougher. On a positive note, however, for the Memphis Grizzlies, players like Scottie Pippen Jr. and Jalen Wells have used this time without Ja Morant to really shine. And Desmond Bane has been given a chance to be a true number 1 on offense, and Jaren Jackson Jr. has been able to become a true number 2, which maybe increases their playoff ceiling potentially. However, it's important to note that they just fired their coach, so this team might be in disarray, or it might get something like the new coach bump. It's really hard to predict what will happen with this team. The importance of this game, however, cannot be understated. A win here for the Warriors or the Grizzlies would be huge in a potential seeding matchup and make sure essentially that the Warriors stay out of the play-in game. With this win, the Grizzlies would be at 30 losses and the Grizzlies would be at 30 losses and the Warriors would be just at 31, meaning that if they lose one more game, the Warriors could potentially jump them and push them into the play-in. Regardless of who plays, this is a huge game. And it's a real big statement game for players like Draymond Green, who want to win Defensive Player of the Year over players like Jaren Jackson Jr. A huge, huge game from Dre is going to secure the Warriors' victory, in my opinion. And I think that huge game isn't on the offensive end. It's on the defensive end with shutting down a player like Jaren Jackson Jr. I expect that people go into this game thinking it's a Steph versus Ja matchup, where it ends up being a JJJ versus Draymond Green matchup. And with that, I think the Warriors will go 3-0 and end up edging out the Memphis Grizzlies in an absolute thriller. The next, a huge game, a national TV game, the Los Angeles Lakers. This game is huge. The Memphis Grizzlies were first, now it's the Los Angeles Lakers. The next game is the most important game. The Lakers are in a precarious situation. They were at 29 losses as of this recording, but they could be at 30, 31 at this point when they actually play the Warriors. It's important that the Warriors get this win. They can basically secure being out of the play-in by beating both the Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Lakers back-to-back, forcing them to both have 30 losses, and probably by that point, they'll both have 31 or 32, with the Warriors being undefeated. It's going to be important to recognize that the Warriors and the Lakers are both small teams now. No longer Anthony Davis is with the Lakers. Instead, I expect them to play a lineup featuring Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, and Dorian Finney-Smith. And I think that lineup could give the Warriors problems just because everyone in that lineup can shoot for the Los Angeles Lakers. And the Warriors haven't faced many teams like that in the past. I think the fact that LeBron went out with this groin strain and it's still clearly affecting him is going to be key in this game. A hampered LeBron and an offense that's centered solely around Luka, I believe, is something the Warriors can deal with. I think this game could easily come down to the absolute wire and Steph Curry and LeBron James going back and forth. And by this time, after a couple of games of basically getting back into steam, I think we'll see Steph Curry at full power on national TV. And I really hope the Warriors get a win, but I wouldn't be so confident. I think, honestly, they probably lose this game, leading them to be 3-1 in this last stretch. And I don't think they can probably win both the Memphis Grizzlies and the Lakers game, but if they end up winning both, that would be insane. The Lakers used to be the number one defense in the league for about 2 months, and everyone on national TV would tell you that. But their strategy was primarily to let people shoot. And during those 2 months, the league only shot 36% from three, which is below league average. But if you look at the last month, three-point shooting has increased in percentage and attempts. And that's important because this means the Lakers defense isn't going to work as well. And now you've seen them lose to teams like the Bulls that really just aren't a great team because of pace of that team as well as the three-point shooting ability. And the Warriors can get hot from three, and that could spell trouble for the Lakers. But the Warriors do still have to worry about Luka Doncic and iso ball and them getting hampered by the very good defenders that the Lakers have on the perimeter, like Dorian Finney-Smith, which is why I really think the Warriors will probably lose this game.